Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Roll Dice Free with me, Papa Omega, and the Kaiserliche Marine. It is 1907 and we are once again looking at the diplomatic situation of German Empire. So quite honestly, the world is a mess, but no escalation since last time took place. Austria-Hungary is still at 10 with Italy. I think they at some point were even at 11, but then they calmed a little bit down. Spain is still at war with Great Britain and United States, and generally speaking, the world is otherwise fairly peaceful. Except for us and Great Britain, we have mild animosity between us again. But I'm really hoping that the war between Austria-Hungary and Italy happens, because that would be a big, major war, and I think that would be fun, because it would pull most of the nations in the world into the conflict, so we have pretty interesting, diverse battles at pretty much every conceivable position, I think. So, yeah, I'm hoping for the best. As far as the tonnage goes, I am kind of shocked because another huge reduction happened all over the table, with the exception of a few nations, and we are thus now the second largest fleet in the world. The total tonnage in the world actually dropped to just slightly over 2 million tons, of which we have nearly 300,000. Now, I want to say one thing. This is only because we are almost stubbornly refusing to retire our old ships. We are rebuilding and trying to refurbish all of our ships because I believe that they have some merit to them. But this strategy is eventually going to catch up to us. We will have to retire some of the older ships or reclassify them or find some different use for them. Some of our older heavy cruisers could become dedicated raiders, for example, with big priority on speed and light guns so that they can hunt enemies. Or they could, be refurbished for anti-submarine warfare. That's another thing that we could do. But while, on paper we seem to be really doing well, and we actually are right now, we keep dragging older and older ships, the Weissenbergs are a prime example of that, with us to various places. So I think that it would be kind of good to make a rule that we will retire at least a couple of ships every year. So that our overall number of ships keeps increasing, but at certain points we will need to get rid of some of them. But, we'll see. So far, I don't see any single class of ship that would be, too bad, because... And the reason why you should retire your ships is a little bit... it's clear, but, you have to think about it a little bit, because any ship that you do not retire and the enemy sinks gives them score. So even, if that ship is absolutely worthless for you, the fact that they sank it gives them victory points, and eventually it might increase your unrest and force your nation to capitulate. So you are not exactly motivated to have every piece of junk still in service, because they're just, an easy target for your opponents. So you need to keep that in mind. Anyway, the tonnage comparison here, you can see that everybody is reducing. Great Britain is just dropping like a rock. I wonder what's going to happen next year. They've probably shed off an insane amount of weight in lieu of new construction. We can actually check that in the almanac. We might have some information about that. Same with everyone. Spain is actually losing a lot of ships. But so did, Great Britain. And it's not only that they, scuttled some of their ships. They actually lost some of them to Spain. So, yeah. It's kind of interesting to see that, we just keep growing and everybody else has this 1904 change of direction where they're reducing their navy. But, yeah. So Germany currently has nearly 15% of all of the navy tonnage, which is pretty good. And we are moving to economy and budget. So this is probably the first time that I'm giving myself an A+++ rating. This is for a number of reasons. A, we have the highest yet budget, 179,920. It's a record high. We've never been this well off. Second, we have nearly 52,300 Reichsmark as a liquid cash in hand, which is a 712% increase from last year, which is amazing. But we have to keep in mind that we have been given this money by our population who wants us to invest in new ships. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in today's episode. We need to create a plan for sustainable growth and future growth. So I'm planning to spend all of these ships. And I'm actually not going to lie, I just plan to build the next Rhine battleship very soon. Put it into construction. I think we can handle it. It's going to burn most of the liquid funds we have, but that's fine. That's what this was given us for. You can see that the per month budget increased by 12.25% since last year. Total expenses, though, increased by 21%. That accounted at 103% of our income, but that's fine. Ship cost increased by 20%, which is also fine. We have a number of new ships in service. We had a little bit of increase in fortifications. That's, I think, maybe due to the bases. I'm not entirely sure because I don't recall if we built any fortifications at all. And the construction went up by 24% as well. The yearly budget, you can see, is at a record high, which is great. Again, finally, we are above the trend line, second year in a row, which is great. Research was also an amazing year for us, or research-wise, it was an amazing year for us. We get a new technology or a boost in armor development, hull construction. We got 2 technologies in fire control, which is at 12. We have a new breakthrough in subdivisions and damage control. We had 2 levels in turrets and gun mountings, 2 in ship design, 1 in armor-piercing projectiles, light forces and torpedoes, torpedo technology, and submarines. And we got a new level in naval guns, which is the 12-inch guns of quality 0. Now, what I want to mention here that we have the anti-submarine warfare as a new tech group or tech category, and I think we're going to start focusing on that. I would also like to up the submarines to high. I'm not sure if we have it at high. The reason is that I was actually spending a lot of time. I took a small break, like 2 days from recording, due to personal reasons. We're finishing a big project at work, so I didn't really have much time. But before I fell asleep every night, I was reading a little bit on the history of the Kaiserliche Marine and the ships that they have. And there was a couple of interesting points that I realized. The Kaiserliche Marine was one of the earliest adopters of the submarines, and they really put a lot of stress in them, or hope and stress on them. So I think we might want to build more submarines and make sure that they are of top-notch quality. What made me actually laugh a bit is that the U1 really was a testing submarine. I did that for role-playing reasons, and I had no idea that actually happened. It was also scuttled shortly after. It never saw active service in the full sense of that. So that made me kind of chuckle that we had the exact same idea in the game. I was also looking at the armor scheme and the guns that the Kaiserliche Marine was using. Most notably, they used 12 and 15-inch guns on their later battleships. And what kind of seemed really interesting to me was that most of their light cruisers, as well as light cruisers used 4 to 5-inch guns, and destroyers used 3 to 4-inch. So we are actually heavily over-arming our light cruisers. I'm going to continue doing that, but I was kind of shocked that that's what they did. And for the secondaries, they usually had either 6 or 5-inch guns on their battleship. So was kind of interesting. I was really digging also deep into what their design philosophy was as far as the Kaiserliche Marine goes, and it was really quality over quantity and overall well-rounded ships. They never really stressed one particular part of the ship. They tried, because the shipbuilding capacities of German Empire was very limited compared to Great Britain. So every ship that they built had to be top-notch, and they basically had a very gradual development. Each of the classes really had just a couple of ships, and they made sure that each new iteration was just better and more advanced than the previous one. So it was kind of interesting to read on that. It kind of confirmed what I was feeling playing as Kaiserliche Marine, and kind of it follows the same logic. Though I'm more of a let's build a huge amount of ships of one class, but again, the game has been severely limiting us in that we really didn't manage to build more than just a couple of ships of each class so far. Fleet overview. We now have 9 battleships, no change there. But we actually have a battlecruiser in construction. This is important. The Rhine is for some reason classed as battlecruiser. I don't know why exactly what I did. I think it might be the speed, quite honestly, because that is the only. Otherwise, it's basically the now but faster. Because we get the turbine engine. So the game is classifying it as battlecruiser, so I don't have a problem with that. We're gonna build another one and have that as a battlecruiser. We're building one more heavy cruiser. We now have 15. So the next is I think it's Friedrich Wilhelm II, the König von Preußen. We're building 2 new light cruisers of the Hansa class. And we're not building any destroyers, corvettes, or submarines. We need to fix that. We want to build another battlecruiser. And we're going to build more submarines and more destroyers. We need to design a new destroyer and start putting them up. I think I'm going to build 10 more of an upgraded class. And we're going to see what we can do with those. But the logic is going to be the same. It's going to be a pack again. We're going to design a destroyer and a slightly bigger destroyer either. Or, differently equipped. The Kaiserliche Marine in time, we are still following the plan, Grau, but I think that we're going to retire it this year because we have such a high budget that we are slowly shifting to constructing. Though with the turbine engine coming, we really need to revisit some of our designs and see if we can rebuild the ships using that one. Because the turbine engine is going to, or the coal turbine engine is going to be very beneficial for us, and it's going to give us at least a couple of knots extra on each of our ships, which might be a difference between a dead ship and, an escaped ship. So here's the Weissenbergs, nothing to say there. Here's the Deutsche Kaiser. We have those as well. Here's the Donau, and here's the Rhine. The Rhine is 3,000 tons bigger. Most notably, it has its secondaries in a twin turret. Twin turrets? Yeah, twin turrets. It's no longer casemated like it was in Donau, but we now have the secondaries and tertiary guns in a casemated setup. And we had 10 single 8-inch guns on the Donau, and now we have 8 double 8-inch guns. So we actually have like 6 guns more, even though the amount of turrets is lower. And for the secondaries, Donau was using 10 single 3-inch guns, and the Rhine has 16 double 5-inch guns. So the tertiary guns are where we really went overboard, and it's gonna be like a huge plinkfest. But we need it because soon the destroyers are gonna be a really big issue, and the tertiary guns are going to be there in case the secondaries cannot keep them off. Now the defense, we have 11-inch, now 12-inch, or we had 11, now we have 2. And I think that might be all there is. Okay, we have more plating on the secondaries. The reason is, of course, that they're no longer casemated, so they need more protection, so they now have 8 inches. And we have slightly less protection on the conning tower. And I actually don't remember if we gave it, but I'm pretty sure we did. The submarine defense, the torpedo defense 1. So I need to check that. Here's the Königs von Preußen. We're building Friedrich Wilhelm II, which is going to be the last of this class, and then we're going to start rebuilding them, and we're going to design a new heavy cruiser. Hertha class, nothing to change there. Victoria Luis, that's one of the ships that I would primarily consider for upgrade for the turbines. I think that they would benefit from that quite a lot. Fürst Bismarck maybe as well, but they have been rebuilt, but so were Victoria Luis. I would like to take it from the oldest ones, the ones that can benefit the most. Prince Heinrichs are also fine. Hansa class, that's the one that's being built. Again, that's an upgraded design compared to Lübeck. It actually has the same size, 6,000 tons, but it's 3 knots faster, coal plus turbine. and it has an upgraded, it has an upgraded armament. It has secondaries of 5-inch, and it even has tertiaries, so 4 3-inch guns as tertiaries and 8 5-inch guns as secondaries, while the bike had only 8 3-inch guns as secondaries. So that is a big upgrade. And I'm thinking anything else. The armor scheme is completely the same. Man, savings on on armor and stuff make huge differences. These ships are exactly the same size, and we can fit so much more on the Hansa. Well, Gazelles. It's kind of interesting. Gazelles I didn't know that it was an existing light cruiser class for the Kaiserliche Marine, and they built I think 6 or 8 of them actually. So that was kind of interesting to read. These are also pretty good, but again, they would benefit greatly from more speed. However, we have only one. I'm feeling like Hellas and Hertha might be the ones we're gonna retire, because keeping up, a single class ships is a little bit, redundant. Here's the Geffions. Those might be the first ones that we're gonna rebuild, but based on their size, I'm not entirely sure we're gonna be able to do much with them. But we'll see. Alternative is designing a small light cruiser. We deal with 3,000 tons. Well, we could take that ship, just redesign it, make it slightly bigger, and build cheap, fast light cruisers that would benefit us. If we build 8 of them, that would mean that we can retire 6 of the Geffions. And here's the destroyers. Not much to say there. And here's our retired August Pipa and Columbia class ships. Now, bases and land fortifications, we increased the basing in Indian Ocean to 20, which is what we require now. And we're upgrading it by 10 more to 30. Later, we're gonna relegate some of the older cruisers after we sort of replace them in our primary territories. We're gonna relegate them to Indian Ocean and some other places. And by some other, I mean South Africa and Liaoning Peninsula or Northeast Asia. Coastal fortifications, no changes there. And last but not least, the officer corps. So the sad part here is that we lost our brilliant officer. He's gone, and we still have the incompetent one. So not really great there. But we have more contra-admirals, we have more captains and we have more frigate and captains. Though having 16 contra-admirals and 9 of them are below average. And Captain Sorza, we have 12 average, 12 below average. What can we do? Here's the officer total. Just keep climbing every year. And here is our ability share. Well, you can see that the incompetent amount is actually increasing. So, no, not the incompetent, the below average. The incompetent, there's only one of them. Up here, it's kind of hard to see, but he's there. Below average increased slightly. Average is also increasing. Above average, I don't feel like they're increasing. Brilliant, that was like a shining star that unfortunately left us. And unknown is being slowly removed. But that comes from the fact that we know our officers better. Okay, and that's the end of the report, January 1907. I hope you enjoyed it, and now we're gonna jump into the game proper to see if we're gonna get a war. So here we are in the game. Currently, we have a little deficit or small deficit of 453 Reichsmark. We're building the Rhein, the first battlecruiser of its class. We're building the Friedrich Wilhelm II, and we are building Hansa and Stralsund as our new light cruisers. Now, we have just a couple of the Donau class ships, Donau and Elbe. So I'm gonna go ahead and build another of the Rhine class ships. What would you suggest? Salzach? Nope. It's gonna be Oder. So Oder is gonna cost us 2,698 per month to build, which is completely fine. We know we want that one to be built. So Rhine on the class. Well, order of the cost line is going to be built, and now we are bleeding about 3,152 Reichsmark per month. I would also like to see if we can get more submarines. We have still the U1 in service, so what I'm going to do is we're going to scrap that one. For one, yes, we're going to scrap it, and we're going to put 3 more submarines for service. So, yes, they cost about 100. Actually, what's the reliability? 58. Okay, let's build. We have 3 and 3, so let's build 4. So we're gonna build U8. We're gonna build a U9. Gonna build a U10. Oh, yeah, select something. And we're gonna build a U11. Okay, so their reliability is going to be 58, which is pretty good. I'm happy to see that. And let's revisit the research. We're actually benefiting heavily from the fire control prioritization. We're at 12. The subdivisions and damage control is not working, overtime. They're at 6 medium, but that's fine. We have the submarines at high already. Okay, and I'm gonna put the anti-submarine warfare at high as well, because those are really important for us. Another thing that I actually asked myself when I was searching for the history of the Kaiserliche Marine is, when did the airplanes actually started to pop up? They were actually experimenting with them fairly early. The regular service of airplanes started around 1910, but there were experiments well earlier than that, and I think I found some in even 1906 and 1907. Again, the Kaiserliche Marine was really focusing on getting the cutting-edge technology available to them, so this was something that they didn't want to miss. And I wanted to look at... we wanted to look at the rebuilds. So who is the oldest rebuild? The Gaffions? The class. So Deutsche Kaisers are actually fairly old. First Bismarcks, the Gaffions. Okay, let me see if we could rebuild the Gaffions, because their speed is actually really bad. So if we replace the machinery, give them the coal plus turbine. Yeah, I could get them easily to 22 knots, which is 4 more knots than they have right now. They really can't upgrade their guns though, but I don't think we have to do that. Central firing. If you lower the ammo slightly, then they are fine. And this would cost, it would be about 5,000 for a rebuild. This is gonna be probably the final iteration of the rebuilds for the Gaffions, and we're gonna retire them. Would we have a 1905 rebuild available? Central firing. Knots. No, but it's the coal plus VT. But they're at 21. I would really like to go with 22 if we can. In Southern Africa or in Northern Europe, in Ocean Northwest Asia. Northeast Asia, not Northwest Asia. Okay, let's rebuild the 2 in the Indian Ocean, and we're gonna rebuild them with the coal plus turbine. I'll make them faster. Central firing. And this one gives 2 more months to the cost. So is there anything else that I could do here? Wow, if I made them bulged, yeah, it wouldn't work. But It's actually a pretty interesting idea to have them bulged. And, you know, but I don't want to abuse it that way. So central firing. We gave them just 2, then we don't need to touch anything and it's going to be faster. Okay, so let's call this the last iteration of them. So save and finish. Oh, okay. Yes. And it's the 1907 rebuild for the Gaffions. So we're going to rebuild the 2 in Indian Ocean, because I'd like to get them fixed. Cool. So now it's nearly 5,000 per month that we're bleeding out, which is okay. A little bit excessive, but we're doing fine. We're gonna manage, no worries. So let's end the turn and see what the game throws at us. The Kaiser throws the idea of a gunnery competition for all ships in the Navy. He believes that it will increase morale and combat readiness in the fleet. Holding such a competition will substantially increase maintenance cost this month. With all respect, such competitions do not give training relevant to combat situations. An excellent idea. Let's go with an excellent idea. Danzig wins the Kaiser's Cup. Interesting. And we get a research breakthrough, anti-submarine warfare, explosive sweeps. Okay, so we are now able to go with anti-submarine warfare capability. And in an engagement in the Mediterranean between the British and Spanish navies, the British ship heavy cruiser Donegal, heavy cruiser Balfour, and heavy cruiser Kent has been sunk. And Spain lost a destroyer Terror. Okay, well, cool. So now let me just see. I want to see if we can take Frederica and give her some. Nope. It's really, we still don't have any depth charge floors. That's actually really interesting. Compost turbine, you can go. Yeah, I wanted to look at the destroyers. So if we open our previous design, the Vereins, we don't compost turbine. Snap, we could go to 32 knots. How big can I make it? 600? Yeah, 600. 700 is too much, right? No, I can get to 700? Wait, what the hell is my... 700, yeah, okay. So wow, that would be a much bigger destroyer. That would be a much bigger destroyer. So if we make you coal and turbine, 700, can get you to 32 speed. A belt of 1 inch would do us what? Okay, so we cannot have it there. Okay. Forward and aft. Right. Okay, and we could call it. How many do we have? 8, 10 ships in service, destroyers. 8. So this would be V. Oh, okay. God damn it, game! Why do you have to be like that? So this would be V9. So no, not the range. Close turbine, increase this, give you another aft turret, and it would be V9 class. It's too crowded, which is fine. So yeah, we have weight remaining on 0. We have 3 torpedoes, 32 knots, 200. Yeah, it's super cheap too. We don't have any secondaries or tertiary guns, but that is fine. No armor either, but we literally can't. Yeah, So destroyers so far can't have anything on them. And the speed is gonna be imperative for a good torpedo hit. We also can't have anything. And I don't think we can actually improve the tubes. Yeah, I can have more than one tube in a mount. Okay, this torpedo defense for a destroyer is kind of funny idea. Okay, so you know what? Let's go this V10. You know, we have the V1 to V8 we have built, and this is gonna be V10. Okay, let's do it. Yes, let's design it. Okay, another turn. 3 ships have finished their working up. There has been an internal upheaval in Rhodes. Italy is apparently sending a force there, ostensibly to restore order, but it's likely they have more far-reaching plans. What do you recommend? We should issue an ultimatum. We should push for an international force. Let's push for an international force. Italy ignores the international force and completes the occupation of Rhodes. Well, and now we are very likely to get into war with them. Research breakthrough, machinery development, small tube boilers, 1% saving on machinery, and hull construction, longitudinal framing, 1% weight saving on hull. And in an engagement in Northern Europe between British and Spanish navies, the British ship destroyer Foam has been sunk, and destroyer Escano was sunk for Spain. Okay. And our latest design V10 is ready. So I don't think it's gonna be 2. Yeah, we cannot afford to build them right now, but we're gonna a little bit later. So Rhodes is now Italian. That's not great, and we have very high tensions with them, which, you know, in essence increased our budget, so all bad is good for something. The Kaiser wants to reduce finance to the Navy to build a new palace and a luxurious yacht for the head of state. What do you do? Of course. Protest energetically. Enlisted the help of the... No, we're gonna protest energetically because we have the prestige and we really are not in a spot where we can ignore this. Research breakthrough, diesel engines, 5% increase of submarine reliability. In a battle in Northern Europe between the British and Spanish navies, the British ships Destroyer Stag, Destroyer Rother, Destroyer Coquette has been sunk. Spain lost Corvette Dorado and Destroyer Ceuta. And in an engagement in the Caribbean between the US and Spanish navies, US Destroyer Truxton has been sunk and Spain lost Vizcaya. And in an engagement in Northern Europe between the Spanish and US navies, the Spanish ships Destroyer Almirante Antequera and Destroyer Bustamante has been sunk. USA lost Heavy Cruiser Astoria. Okay, and Admiral Thurman has retired. Admiral Schrader is promoted to Admiral and placed in command. We have a guy becoming average. We have a captain being promoted. So things are looking fairly good. And we had another slight increase in Euro budget, which I commend. I'm not really complaining about anything in that regard. A colonial crisis with Italy has arisen. You are asked for recommendations. What is your advice to the government? We must safeguard our interests, and if it leads to war, we are prepared to fight it. It would be best to avoid a war right now, but prepare for future conflicts by strengthening the Navy. We are not ready for war. Let's push it towards war. Research breakthrough, anti-submarine warfare, anti-submarine nets, gradual increase in national anti-submarine capability. British and Spanish navies have clashed in Northern Europe, and British destroyer Star has been sank, and Spain lost destroyer Villamil. Okay. So yeah, we're one step away from war. Yeah, Austria-Hungary is on our side as well. And Italy, unfortunately, has alliance with United States. Which kind of sucks. But they are also allied with Austria-Hungary. So, you know, and we are allied with just Austria-Hungary. But if we get Austria-Hungary in the war, that would be enough to take down Italy, I think. Do you have any ships here? No. We have to move our ships, all of them probably, to the Mediterranean, which would be a huge, massive battle there. But it would probably be worth it to try to sink as many of them as possible and kind of, you know, blockade them. On average, we are advanced, and I think they were behind a couple of months ago as well. The war between Great Britain and Spain has ended in a compromise peace. Wow! Spain managed to pull it off. I love Spain. Intelligence report from USA. They have increased their naval budget. We have a couple of people moving around. Tensions between USA and Japan increased due to the Philippines. Okay, our budget has increased again to 203,800 Reichsmark. Amazing. War has broken out between Italy and Austria-Hungary. And Austria-Hungary calls on us to honor our alliance and join them in a war against Italy. According to the clause 5C of our agreement, of course, it's a matter of honor to fulfill our obligation. So we're going to get prestige bonus, budget bonus, and a war. Germany and Italy are now at a state of war. And we got a research breakthrough: ship design, cross-deck fire. Enables cross-deck fire for staggered wing turrets in ships with more than 2 main turrets. Counterintelligence believes that Russia has stolen technology in submarines from us. The affair has leaked to the press, and the conservative newspapers are clamoring for action. We should send a diplomatic note in the strongest possible language. Okay, submarine activity summary. From the operational subs, enemy subs, we get nothing and nothing. Relations with USA are deteriorating because we are at war with their ally Italy. Okay, so let's look at all relations. So Italy is at war with us and Austria-Hungary. And, oh, the Spanish war has completely ended. Okay, so they're no longer at war. But Austria-Hungary has alliance with France, Russia, Japan, and United States. So I'm kind of interested in seeing who's going to join them. But even this way, we have nearly 300,000 tons in raw power. Austria-Hungary has 177,000 tons in raw power. Together we have 16 battleships, while Italy has 6. We have 25 heavy cruisers, while Italy has 16. We have, 19 light cruisers. They have 2. Oh god, they have 43 destroyers. That's actually extremely excessive, but Austria-Hungary has 45, and we have 10. So, okay. And their destroyers are tiny. And we have 6, they got 6, and Austria-Hungary has 12. So we outnumber them in every single aspect. I'm kind of feeling bad that I didn't start. Okay, we need to do that right now. We need to get to high intelligence on Italy. And let me see the almanac. I just want to see what kind of ships they have. So they're building 3 big battleships and a battlecruiser Roma. Do we know anything? Nope. Their actual battleships are trash. So that's at all not a problem. Their cruisers are sort of trash as well. They have a heavy cruiser Lombardia. Wow. 15,800 knots, really? That's a beast. But nothing our ships... We have to sink this one. That's my personal goal. We have to sink Lombardia. And yeah, the destroyers are almost... No, actually they're not. They have Wow, they even have a couple of 700 tons. 1, 2 torpedo tubes. They have quite a 30 knots. They went there earlier than we did. We were just catching up. 27 knots, 29 knots. What's our destroyers like? We have 27 knots on all of ours. Okay, so some are slower, some are faster. And what are we doing here? So in the Mediterranean, Italy has 6 battleships. So they have comparable forces there. We have ships here and ships here. And our priority ships are in... Sorry. The Baltic has the battleship fleet. So I'm saying we actually send all of the ships that we have in Northern Europe to the Mediterranean to face them. And we're gonna move the Baltic fleet to Northern Europe to protect ourselves from being blockaded. Or we could send just the battleship squadrons, and leave something behind. That's also a possibility. Do we have basing now in the Mediterranean when the war has broken out? Base overview. Wait, no. Area overview. Mediterranean. Yep, we get 430 base capacity. Yep, so we can put our ships there. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna end the episode here because in the next one we're gonna start with the war. We're gonna have to set up everything, send our subs and stuff like that. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, and we have to bring Italy down. I want Austria-Hungary to get Albania, and I wouldn't mind getting something out of it either, but honestly, I cannot imagine having colonies in the Mediterranean. Rhodes would be fine, but that's just another colony that we would have to defend. So in this case, I think it's gonna be just, go for maximum damage and sink as many enemy ships, and we're gonna not get anything. I mean, we're supporting our ally, so the ally should get, what they want. Cool. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next episode.